As you do this, pray silently for each family member by name, asking that the light of Christ penetrate their hearts, just as this small flame illuminates the darkness around it. The symbolism is profound. You are literally bringing light into darkness, hope into despair, and the presence of the sacred into spaces that may have forgotten what holiness feels like. Padre Pio taught that this simple act of lighting a candle with faith-filled intention creates a spiritual beacon that heaven notices and honors. Angels are drawn to this light, and they become more active in protecting and influencing your family members. Many people have reported that family members who had been completely indifferent to religious matters began to pause, look, and even ask questions about the small sacred space that glowed with quiet devotion in their home. The fourth practice is perhaps the most demanding but also the most powerful. Daily intercessory prayer specifically for the conversion of your family members, combined with small sacrifices offered for their salvation. Padre Pio taught that prayer without sacrifice is like a body without a soul. It lacks the power to move heaven. Your daily intercession must be joined with acts of penance that give weight and urgency to your petitions. This doesn't mean dramatic gestures or extreme mortifications. It means offering small daily sacrifices, perhaps skipping a favorite food, waking up a few minutes earlier for prayer, or giving up some small pleasure, and uniting these offerings with Christ's sacrifice for the salvation of souls. When you offer these sacrifices specifically for your family members' conversion, you're participating in the mystery of redemption in a way that can literally change eternal destinies. Padre Pio often told spiritual children that one soul praying and sacrificing for another can obtain graces that the wandering soul could never obtain for themselves. Your faithful intercession can break through barriers of pride, indifference, and spiritual blindness that keep your loved ones from returning to God. This is why your role is so crucial. You become a bridge between their need and God's mercy, a channel through which grace can flow into hearts that have closed themselves off from receiving it directly. The fifth and most powerful practice is attending Mass regularly and offering each Eucharist specifically for your family's conversion. Padre Pio said that no prayer has more value than the Holy Mass, and when you attend Mass with the specific intention of gaining graces for your family's return to faith, you're accessing the most powerful source of spiritual transformation available on earth. Don't underestimate the power of attending Mass alone while carrying your family in your heart. When you receive Holy Communion, you're not just receiving Christ for yourself, you're receiving Him as a representative of your entire household. In that moment of union with the Eucharistic Lord, pray with confidence, Jesus, I offer this Mass for the salvation of my family. Let the graces won by your sacrifice reach their hearts and draw them back to you. This isn't just a pious wish, it's a prayer that participates in the infinite merits of Christ's sacrifice. Padre Pio taught that every Mass attended with faith has eternal consequences, and when you offer that Mass for specific souls, you're directing the infinite power of Calvary toward their particular needs. Many families have experienced sudden, unexpected conversions after months or years of faithful Mass attendance and offering. The graces won by your faithfulness can accumulate in ways that will surprise you, breaking through the hardest hearts at moments when you least expect it, but most need it. These 5 practices, the daily rosary, holy water protection, the sacred candle, intercessory prayer with sacrifice, and offering Mass for conversion, form a complete spiritual strategy that Padre Pio gave to countless families facing the crisis of abandoned faith. They're not magic formulas, but they are proven methods that align your heart with God's will and create channels for His grace to work in seemingly impossible situations. Remember that spiritual transformation rarely happens overnight. Just as a seed needs time to grow into a tree, the seeds of grace you plant through these practices need time to take root and grow in your family members' hearts. Your job isn't to force conversions or manipulate outcomes. Your job is to be faithful to these practices and trust that God will honor your persistence and love. Padre Pio often said that God's timing is perfect, even when it's not our timing. The saint's promise to families who faithfully followed these practices was simple but profound. Trust, pray, and act with faith, and you will see the hand of God restoring the impossible. Your home can become a sanctuary of grace again. your family members can return to the sacraments. Hearts that seem completely closed can open to receive the light of Christ. This isn't just hope, it's the promise of a saint who interceded for countless families and witnessed miracles of conversion that seemed humanly impossible. Don't wait for the perfect moment to begin implementing these practices. The moment to transform your family's spiritual life through Padre Pio's powerful intercession is now, tonight, before you even go to sleep. Choose one of these 5 practices and begin immediately. Then add another and another until your home becomes a fortress of faith that no spiritual darkness can completely penetrate. Your family's eternal destiny may depend on your faithfulness to this sacred mission that God has entrusted specifically to you. Have you ever felt the crushing weight of spiritual loneliness when you're the only one in your family who still believes, still prays, still seeks God with a sincere heart? You wake up on Sunday morning, ready to attend Mass, but you look around and see empty beds, distracted faces, and hearts that have grown cold toward the sacred mysteries of our faith. This isn't just a personal struggle. It's a spiritual battle that affects the eternal salvation of souls you love most. In today's world, countless Catholic families face this heartbreaking reality. Children, spouses, or siblings who have abandoned Mass, who have turned away from faith and religious practices. This spiritual distance doesn't just sadden the hearts of those who still believe, it puts the eternal salvation of souls at serious risk. Padre Pio, the stigmatized saint who lived in constant communion with God and faced countless spiritual battles, left us valuable teachings for these exact situations. Counsel that can transform your home into a refuge of light, even when the rest of your family chooses to live in the darkness of religious indifference. Before I reveal the 5 powerful practices that Padre Pio taught for families in spiritual crisis, you need to understand something crucial about the spiritual warfare happening in your home right now. When family members stop attending Mass, they're not just missing a weekly obligation, they're opening doors to spiritual darkness that can affect everyone under the same roof. But here's what Padre Pio knew that most people don't. One faithful soul in a household can become a beacon of light so powerful that it can pierce through the deepest spiritual darkness and reach hearts that seem completely closed to God. The absence of faith in a home is like removing the spiritual foundation from a house built on sand. Padre Pio often said that families who abandon Mass are unconsciously inviting spiritual emptiness into their daily lives. When the Eucharist is no longer the center of family life, other influences, materialism, pride, worldly distractions, rush in to fill that sacred void. You might not see it immediately, but the spiritual atmosphere of your home changes dramatically when family members stop participating in the sacraments. Padre Pio witnessed this transformation countless times during his ministry. He saw how homes that once radiated peace and blessing gradually became places of conflict, anxiety, and spiritual restlessness. The saint understood that when people stop receiving the body and blood of Christ, they begin to starve spiritually even if they don't realize it. Their souls become vulnerable to temptations they once easily resisted, and their hearts grow harder toward the things of God. This isn't punishment, it's the natural consequence of cutting oneself off from the source of all spiritual nourishment. But here's where Padre Pio's wisdom becomes revolutionary. He taught that one person living in deep communion with God can create a spiritual shield around their entire household. Your faithful attendance at Mass, your daily prayers, your devotion to the Blessed Sacrament. These acts of faith don't just benefit you. They create ripples of grace that can reach every corner of your home, touching hearts that seem completely indifferent to spiritual matters. This is why your role as the faithful one in your family is so crucial, so sacred, and so powerful. You are not just a family member who happens to still believe. You are a spiritual guardian chosen by God for this specific mission. Padre Pio understood that when Providence places one faithful soul among several who have wandered away, it's never by accident. You have been positioned by divine design to be an intercessor, a bridge between heaven and your family, a beacon of light in what might feel like overwhelming darkness. This calling requires courage, patience, and unwavering faith, but it also comes with extraordinary spiritual power. Padre Pio taught that the prayers of one faithful family member can move mountains, open closed hearts, and bring about conversions that seem humanly impossible. Your consistent devotion, Your silent sacrifices, your persistent love, these create a spiritual atmosphere that the enemy cannot completely penetrate. Even when your family members seem indifferent or even hostile to faith, grace is working silently in their hearts through your faithfulness. The 5 practices I'm about to reveal aren't just religious exercises, they are spiritual weapons that Padre Pio gave to families in crisis. These practices have the power to transform your home into a sanctuary of grace, to protect your loved ones from spiritual harm, and to create openings for the Holy Spirit to work in ways that will amaze you. Each practice is simple enough to do daily, yet powerful enough to change eternal destinies. If you believe these teachings from Padre Pio can transform your family's spiritual life, write in the comments, "I trust in Padre Pio's intercession," and subscribe to receive more life-changing spiritual guidance. The first practice Padre Pio insisted upon was praying the rosary daily within your home, even if you must pray it alone. The rosary is the weapon for our times, he would say, and this weapon becomes even more powerful when used in a home where faith is under attack. When you pray the rosary in your living room, your kitchen, or even silently in your bedroom, you're not just reciting prayers. You're creating a spiritual force field that surrounds your entire family. Think of your daily rosary as planting seeds of grace in the soil of your home. Even if your family members don't participate, don't listen, or even walk away when you pray, the spiritual power of those Hail Marys and Our Fathers permeates the atmosphere around them. Padre Pio taught that the Blessed Virgin Mary honors every rosary, prayed with sincere intention, and she has a special tenderness for families in spiritual crisis. Your daily rosary becomes her daily opportunity to work miracles of conversion in hearts that seem impossible to reach. The key is consistency and intention. Don't just pray the rosary as a routine. Offer each mystery specifically for the conversion of your family members. When you meditate on the joyful mysteries, ask Mary to bring that same joy of faith back to your loved ones. During the sorrowful mysteries, unite your pain at seeing their spiritual indifference with Christ's suffering for souls. With the glorious mysteries, pray with confidence for their eventual resurrection from spiritual death to spiritual life. This isn't just hope. It's spiritual warfare fought on your knees with the most powerful weapon in heaven's arsenal. The second practice Padre Pio strongly recommended was the frequent use of holy water throughout your home, especially in bedrooms and doorways where spiritual battles are often most intense. This isn't superstition, it's sacramental theology in action. Holy water has been blessed by the Church to drive away evil influences and invite divine protection, and in homes where faith is weak, this protection becomes absolutely essential. Padre Pio taught families to quietly sprinkle holy water on the beds where their loved ones sleep, on the door frames they pass through, and in the spaces where they spend the most time. Do this discreetly, without drawing attention to yourself, while praying silently for the purification of your home and the protection of everyone who lives there. The power isn't in the water itself, but in the Church's blessing and your faith-filled intention as you use it. Think of holy water as creating invisible boundaries that evil cannot cross. When family members have stopped receiving the sacraments, they become more vulnerable to spiritual influences that can harden their hearts further against God. Your faithful use of holy water creates a protective atmosphere that limits the enemy's ability to work in their lives. Many families have testified that this simple practice led to dramatic changes in the spiritual atmosphere of their homes. Less conflict, more peace, and unexpected openings for conversations about faith that hadn't been possible for years. The third practice involves creating a small sacred space in your home where you regularly light a candle before an image of Christ, the Blessed Virgin, or Padre Pio himself. This isn't just decoration. It's a powerful spiritual act that brings the light of Christ into a home where spiritual darkness may have settled. Padre Pio understood that physical light has spiritual significance, and a candle burning before a sacred image creates a focal point for grace in your household. Choose a quiet corner where you can place a small image and light a candle for several